like they kind of like, so it's very much influenced by like the Mandarin of like this of like near Beijing and Tianjin, like, and I guess I mean some people would say like the Manchurians had some influence, and it's true. Like, so it's like it became adopted as the royal language, so to speak. So the Mandarin that the Manchurians, like the Qing dynasty, royal families would use and like nobles would use. So that's why it became. That's why we use it today. And it's the Chinese that everyone's more familiar with, the one that everyone's learning. That's not a dialect like Cantonese or Hakka or whatever dialect you want to use. But we have an idea like based on like, because Chinese is a very like, there's a lot of, this language has been around for thousands of years and there's a lot of writing. And of course, a lot of it has changed very heavily from what it is now. And I guess like this, like of course the Chinese you hear in ancient dramas has some influence from like that time period. So there are terms we don't use that they're used at this time. Let me think. What do I want to do here? Perhaps, lightning won't really do much to them, but I guess you could do it. So yeah, but like apparently from the records they can actually piece together what like what the Chinese from previous dynasties kind of sound like. There's actually like a pretty neat video about like it shows how they sound throughout the ages, like the approximation of what it would sound like based on like the records. And someone was saying that like at one of the dynasties, like I think the Song or Tang Dynasty, they sound more like Hakka, which is used in southern China, which I think is kind of interesting. But they're like, wait, that sounds like someone in the video was commenting in Chinese was saying like, wait a minute, this sounds like Hakka, what the heck? So I guess Hakka at one point was like the national dialect. Obviously it changed because of like history and dynasty changes. So it's really interesting. It's too bad we don't have like, the only thing is like we don't have sound recorders. So it really kind of, it's just really unfortunate that we can't actually hear what they actually sound like. But at least we can piece together what it's did. Alright, we got the shield too. So yeah, it's a pretty neat video. Obviously, if you don't speak Chinese, it's a lot harder to really hear it, but you know, it's just kind of neat. Alright, I'm gonna have to heal really quick, or else we will have, Tangxing unfortunately is pretty much taking the brunt of it. Is there any way I can improve? Does he have anything I can improve on him? Yeah, the thing is I don't want to give him something that's too powerful. Hold on. Do you have anything you can get? No, this is worse than what you have, so I'll give it to Changxing. The Dragon Soul, so that way you don't die as quickly. I'm gonna give you... So she needs to get the level 2 shield now. Okay, cool. We pretty much have all the seals we can, the good seals we can get. Not sure I want to include the chance for doubling. I don't know if that's really that useful at this point. It might be, but I don't know. I mean, what does she have right now on her weapon? Because she has some useful stuff, so it's like, I don't really want to get rid of it. She doesn't need a chance to double. Drain blood. This gives you a chance of critical. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. Almost whether critical would be better than, or doubling would be better. Maybe doubling might be better. I don't know, let's give it a try. Let's replace critical with doubling. Double attack, by the way, not doubling. Yeah, I always find it... Yeah, Chinese history is really interesting. It's such a fascinating, like, how long it's been. Jesus. kind of crazy. It's like predates like so many civilizations. And you just wonder what people were like back then. Probably a very different time though. Especially from all the way from the first dynasty of China, Qin, all the way to now. What did that Chinese sound like back then? Oh, who knows? I mean, we have an approximation, but that's all we do. Let's use the lightning bolt on them. Just hit them with the rain. Adjust the volume here. Kind of curious. Now I'm actually curious if that streamers. We were talking about how there was another streamer who started this game in English, not the non-Chinese. There's actually quite a few Chinese language streams for this game, so it's not an issue finding one. A let's play in Chinese. It's fairly easy to find. But I'm saying in English, we were the only one on Twitch until like recently. Yeah, apparently there's another channel that we were talking about, another channel also doing it, so I thought it was kind of interesting. Their setup is quite a bit different from ours, so like they have it so that the streamer themselves cannot translate the game, so he has a friend that translates it and then he reads the translation. Unfortunately, that also means like it takes longer for them. It takes even longer for them than it does for us. Here I'm like, oh, it says the same thing. I have to die at the hands of these little whelps. I'm like, well, Tortoise, you shouldn't have attacked me. That's what you get, man. Oh boy. Should we combo? Nah, it's not that big of a deal. Oh, I probably should have just used one of her text. Yeah, they're doing less damage now, so that's good. Changxing has a higher chance. To be fair, I attacked it from behind. That's true, but it would have attacked me if I had shown it mercy. Oh man, we're gonna send the horses over. I just sent horses at it. Because couldn't be bothered. Oh my goodness, we can't hit anything today. Oh, it paralyzed me. Why won't you die? Nice. Level up for Changxing. Alright, we have like the red flame grass and stuff. And the light herb. I've also been thinking like we're actually at the point where... Okay, I was talking about Chinese history just now. It's kind of interest. That's always interested me. What I'm more like thinking of like what games we play that are Chinese that are not from this series, because we're about to run out of games. And as far as I know, they haven't said when they're making the 7th game. So we do not know whether or not when I'll get a chance to let's play that, because it doesn't exist yet. We actually are almost caught up to China, or will soon be. At the end of this year, technically, because I'm not going to play the 6th game right after this. I need to take a break from Sword and Fairy. I'm sure Illusion Queen appreciates the break since she's been working so hard. Alright, so for Changlan, let's go ahead and smack them all in the face with my Swallow attack. Or I could just use the 75, the swordplay attack. Just get swordplay. Swordplay. It'll kill one of them at least. Dead. Insult to injury, eh? Ow. Ow. Oh, it didn't really hurt. Yeah, I don't know about this, how the 6th game will go. I mean, I've seen both, like, some people don't like it, and then, like, other people are like, oh, it's interesting. And, like, the Westerners are, I mean, the Western players, I know, right? There are actually Western player reviews for that game, because the game's actually translated to English. Who would have thought? I know, who would have thought you would get a new audience on Steam for the Chinese, if you had an English version. Who knew, right? But in seriousness, like, yeah, the translation's not amazing from what I've heard. So people are saying, like, it's kind of like, it makes things sound a little goofier than it really should have been. Which is a bit of a shame. I don't know why Softstar tries to... I don't know if it's just a lack of, like, people who are talented. No, but I mean, there are people who can translate these things to a competent level. It's just, I guess, it's in China, there's not a lot of people who specialize maybe in, like, modern... I don't know, though, but there has to be some people who they could have contracted, at least. Like, people who do all the, like, the translations for, like, ancient dramas. There's, like, 1 billion of those. Like, I almost said Rome wasn't built in a day. Well, the Rome that is the communities of people that watch Chinese dramas with subtitles is actually pretty significant. Like, it's probably the most popular export are the Chinese dramas. Mostly ancient stuff, really, actually, which is kind of funny. Like, you would think that these kind of like settings are very inaccessible, like Sword and Fairy, like, or like palace dramas, but nah, you guys, no. If you haven't ever been on, like, the internet, and if you go to any, like, a lot of country, like, actually a lot of the fans are mostly in Southeast and East Asia, like, no, seriously, it's like a significant amount. Like, if you're in Malaysia or Singapore, like, I know so many people who are actually watch, like, the Chinese dramas, like, and not just ancient and modern too, but I think a lot of ancient as well. Like Pearl Princess, Huanzhu Gege, which is, or Pearl Princess, as you guys might know it, in the West, is, like, got super popular. I mean, I know this is making me sound old because, like, that game that was from, like, early 2000s, but you know, I have never actually watched it. I know people who have. I heard it's really good. I myself have never watched it, but, like, there were so many people who were all on that stuff. It was crazy, and, like, some of them are not even, like, native Chinese speakers, so to speak, and they were, like, super fascinated by it. It was really cool. It's like the biggest cultural export, which is kind of the double-edged sword, because, like, on the one hand, it's like, great, we have so many people we can ask to translate Chinese dramas. On the other hand, well, other Chinese stuff gets, like, put on the wayside because everyone's so focused on the dramas. So it's kind of like, oh man. So you know what's sad? Like, this game series then is more known for that crappy dramas than it is for the actual games themselves. I mean, some of the fans, like, who know of the drama, like, have played the game, but, like, it feels like there's just so much, like, in terms of, like, an English speaker, you could probably find a translated drama first before you find a game you can actually play the game. Which is unfortunate because the game's like 1 billion times better than the drama. I'm sorry, I had to. I sound like a hater, but, like, I'm not even, like, I'm trying not to be, but it's really hard considering that drama is so the Sword and Fairy drama. Oh jeez, I mean, like the actors are actually not bad. I know them from other things. It's just oh goodness gracious. Oh goodness gracious. To be honest, the translation for the drama isn't that great either, but that's a whole separate issue altogether. It's okay, but like there's just some weird translation decisions, man. It doesn't feel natural. I'm going to rant about this all day because frankly, this dungeon doesn't give me much to do except to rant. And it's actually topical in the game, but yeah, though for an English speaker, your options are, you either like watch one of my playthroughs where I translated the game into English, and like Legend of Sword and Fairy, I was new and I didn't translate everything correctly, but at least you got the main gist of the story, or you watch the drama, which is terrible. It's just no, and like as much as I like Crystal Leo is like beautiful she may be, I'm not gonna. It's just not a good representation of the world of the game itself. A lot of people were really disappointed. I know a lot of people who were. I know this is like old news because like that was a while ago, but you know. All right, let's take care of the tortoise. Oh man. Yeah, it's a real shame that there's not there's more it's easier to get resources to translate a drama, but it's very hard to find people willing to go the extra mile. The monster locking trauma in the drama was ridiculous. Oh dear, I'm really scared to I actually have not seen that. I have actually you know guys, I will confess I have actually never seen the entire drama. I've only seen parts of it. It was like the most bizarre thing. Also, the costumes were also kind of super bizarre too, but like it was like shown on you know, it's funny, it was actually shown here in the San Francisco area. We actually had a showing of it. I don't want to use some of these things. We had a showing of it in regular TV because we have Chinese TV that's free for the residents here. You can actually watch, this Chinese channel for free, and Sword and Fairy was the drama that showed up because it was like a big thing, like the classic game series in a drama. So of course everyone was like, "Oh shoot, my childhood!" But like, oh gosh, there was some stuff in there. Didn't help the translation was bad for anyone who couldn't speak Chinese. But even if you could speak Chinese, it wasn't a good drama. It was super, like, the effects were just super cheap looking, and it didn't, no. They changed some characters, and oh jeez. Oh jeez is how much is all I have to say. I'm sure if people do like, some people actually genuinely do like it, but it's just, like, as someone who plays, it's like, I guess maybe that's how, like, you know, like, people who are saying, like, manga readers are, like, kind of looked down upon people who just watch the anime adaptations in like the Japanese side of things. Well, I'm sure that's probably how it feels. It's kind of how it feels, but like, I think a lot of things don't translate well to live action, especially like if it's a TV drama, they can't spend that much on the effects either, and they change some stuff. It's really strange, ultra strange. But yeah, I was saying that it's really a shame because that's sadly one of the easiest pieces of media from like this series as a whole to find, other than Sword and Fairy 6, which only came out like not that long ago. Thailand got a level, and like it's really sad. Like that shouldn't be your first exposure. It's not that great. Is like, why? I don't want to learn about Mooney. No, I'm serious. You know, like, we were talking about, like, the lunar cult. The official translation had it as Mooney. I'm dead serious. That is how they translated it. I watched it all before paying. I think it was okay because some nonsensical things. I guess for me, my standards are so high because the game was too good. I guess, like, if it was your first time seeing it, like, it should be okay. It's a little weird, but it's fine. Oh, I talked to... You can talk to the... They skipped his dialogue. I think I was talking... He actually can... You can talk to him. See? Let's see. The dialogue goes up so fast I don't have time to translate it, so... whatever. I was so unlucky. Who knew the path would be so complicated? Thank you. At least you actually recorded what was written. I'm not going to go there yet. I want to see if there's any other things I can obtain on this side. I know, I'm feeling... Perhaps it's not the... Okay, the dramas... Might you be a wealthy son of noble family? Oh no, we are not from a noble family at all. Not one of the 4 noble ones. Not at all. And thank you for translating it ahead of time. Translating it ahead of time, because I was like... The dialogue goes so fast that I don't have time to, like, process it and translate it. Let's see, what do I want to do here? I probably want to get rid of these things. I don't want to use that move. It hurts her, that's the problem. Her ultimate hurts her. Yeah, I guess, like... I guess I'm more like... I'm less like kind to the drama only because I played the game now. And I saw the changes and I was like, oh boy. But I guess like it's not the worst thing possible. But... Oh, okay, Jingshen. We can miss. That's fine. No problem. But yeah. The translation is just like, they call them, the lunar cult is called Mooney, which is like, oh, jeez. Right, so the drama was actually broadcasted here, and they actually had Chinese subtitles. Of course they had Chinese subtitles. They all do, but it had English translations too for the people who were watching it as well. And it was translated as Mooney. Oh, goodness gracious. It was just like a travesty of a translation. I was just like, are you kidding me? And because, I mean, of course, I could understand what they were saying, so I was like, looking at I'm like, that is not... What? I was like, we would call that the lunar cult. Why? Or something like a lunar cult. Why the heck is it... Oh, goodness gracious. I'm sure there's a fan translations that are probably better, too. And the sub where they use lunar cult, good. Yeah, the fan subs are way better. Not that, don't use the official translation. It's horrible. And I mean, that's what we had for back then when it was broadcasting. But I'm sure they decided... I'm sure the fans probably did that because the official translation was so... incompetent. I guess, like, I wonder how, like... I think one thing is like because we use English so much, like you never really get to see like some it's kind of interesting to see how some English media gets translated into other languages, and sometimes like it's great, and other times shit, I got a level by the way. Other times it's just like you can see just all the mistranslations. Yes. I'm just hanging out here looking for what's around. But yeah, I was saying like the English translations of English stuff must be like, what the heck? You can see the mistranslations. You could speak both languages, you'd be like, that is not what they said. I'm sure it must be like that too. Seeing English media mistranslated would probably really hurt too. If for people who are not, for you guys who know English, whose English is your mother tongue. Yeah, so of course you don't want to see things mistranslated. I think a lot of people like don't realize like just how much it really does matter. Yeah, sometimes it's just really like hard not to like. I don't want to overstate that like the importance, as in like, oh, like if some one word changes, like it changes like. Some translators are so bad they change this thing slightly to give it some more like for the sake of like making it sound more natural, like, and it does. And more important is just to like kind of keep the spirit of what they're trying to say, because oftentimes it's very cultural. So sometimes if you said something, it could sound very cold, but it's not cold because that's just something you say in that language. Right, like this one say like when you sell someone here, like when you're like saying like we were saying, like for instance, if someone's like it's like mourning over someone's passed away, you tell them like, oh, don't be sad, but it doesn't, like in English that could sound really insensitive, but in Chinese that's just something you say out of sympathy. So it's just like, see, it's like that kind of stuff that could screw you over, because then they'll like, oh wow, that's really cool of them to say. I'm like, no, that's just what they normally say. It's like, I'm sorry. Like, don't. It's more like an I'm sorry, sympathetic. Don't be sad, not a don't be sad. You're terrible. I'm like, it's really like it's just that kind of stuff, which makes it things. The cultural differences of what you're expected to say can change a lot of things. Also, I'm gonna get rid of these things. Can't stand y'all. Get out of my face. Level up for Jingxuan. I think us finding all these, going out and massacring the monsters is probably gonna help us a lot later on in the game. Gotta check what time is it. Oh shoot! I just realized how late it is. I was so busy talking about Chinese dramas, I totally forgot, lost track of time. Okay, I mean, I think that's probably gonna be. Also, it doesn't help that we're just massacring monsters, so probably why it's taking longer than I thought. I mean, if we didn't massacre the monsters, we probably could have gotten through here a lot faster, but, you know. Alright, you might as well use it, so... One of your buddies watched one of his favorite movies like he didn't understand. Oh, you had to use the... You had to rely on the subs were terrible. He didn't watch the movie with his friend who knew the language. She translated for him on the flies they watched. He was surprised how different the dialogue was. Good subs really do matter. Absolutely. And like... and that's why when I like... I even have... I mean like... I'm not gonna say name any names. I just know some people... I have some friends who are like, oh, it's fine as long as it's like I've said like, oh, the game has not a great translation, and I think the response was like, oh, that's fine, whatever. It will be as long as it's close enough to the main message. But I was thinking like, sure, it's close enough, kinda, but it's not. It doesn't really preserve voice very well. Do I want to use this now? Oh, why not? Let's do it. Locked attack. But yeah, it can't be understated that like translation is really important. Like you need the spirit of the translation is the most important. And I guess what you actually want to accomplish. I guess it really depends too. That's why it's an art, not a science. Like there's no one good proper way. The translation effort you need to translate like a manual is very different than one you would do to translate a work of fiction or like a video game like this one. And even then it's like, what era are you fighting? Are you doing like modern? Are you doing ancient like this one? And like that really does influence how you want the work to sound, because I mean, for all intents and purposes, like, if I really wanted to, I could just use all modern lingo to, like, translate this game, but it would just, like, not be correct. I mean, I guess not correct, it would just be, like, dishonest with how, like, it sounds. Like, to me, this sounds archaic, so if I translate archaic to modern, for you guys, it would sound really strange. Because that would not be in the spirit of the game itself. I'm gonna probably just deal. Should I send the horses? I'm lazy. Let's send the horses. And drop some rain on them too, for good measure. Yeah, could you imagine though? It'd be kind of funny just to like... I mean, I wouldn't do it for this game, but like... If I like decided to translate like one section of an ancient game in modern, using the modern way of speaking, it'd just be like super weird. Yeah, oftentimes, like, if you don't have someone competent enough